Hello, this is JJ Humphrey. We're back on Elephant in the Room. Hey, I'm remote today. I'm down here south of Dallas with a great group of people, some legislators, some people who work just in human trafficking, as well as we got cases we're working where a lot of your DHS is involved in taking custody of the elderly, and they're taking the elderly, even though you have family members that want to try to help them, want to take care of them. They're coming in and getting the power of attorney. Most of these appear like they're trying to get money for, like nursing homes, that kind of thing. In the case that we're looking at down here today, they're trying to take property away from an elderly lady. That's one of the cases we're going to be looking at, as well as human trafficking cases, talking about how we can effectively work to help these people, what we can do across the nation, not just here in Texas, not just there in Oklahoma. I will be talking about cases that we have in Oklahoma that I'm working on. But that's what I'm doing down here remote today, and that's why I'm going to be by myself. I'm outside by a pool, and so it's a really nice, beautiful day down here. So I'm just going to set out on the patio, visit with y'all for a minute because I want to update you on things that are happening there in Oklahoma. One of the things that has happened recently that I want to share with you is that the Department of Corrections came out the other day. I did an interview with Fox 25, Channel 4. I did that with some other people. Charles Tiger, who is an inmate who advised the Department of Corrections that he couldn't be stuck into one of the areas in the prison, that his life was in danger. They ignored him. They put him in there just shortly after they put him in there. I mean, almost immediately. He was stabbed 38 times. This guy he nearly died. His family came in from, his wife came in from Florida. They won't let her see him. She can't get information about him. Guys, this is a common thing. Department of Corrections covering everything they do up. So they come out on that article, their response to that. They didn't respond to the family members. They didn't respond to the lawyers. They did respond to me, and they said, well, JJ's just a liar, and that JJ's just using this for his political advantage, trying to do politics with this. Now, guys, I've been doing that. I've been hammering on the Department of Corrections for the last probably 7, 8 years. Now, I do want to say that the current director right now is, guess what? He's been the assistant director. I helped him get the spot. He wouldn't have it unless me and a couple of other people helped him get that. And so, again, I'm very disappointed in him. But we helped him get it. He's been there. He was there through the entire term of Harp. He was there through the entire term of Director Crow. So that's almost 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. So this guy's been in second place for 7 years. Again, he can't say that none of this is his fault. He's been acting for quite some time. He's been in there almost a year in charge. I think, I don't know exactly how long, but he's been in charge long enough to make some changes. Guess what? He's not making any changes. Number one problem they have is they're short staffed, especially correctional officers, case managers. They're short all across, except in management and mismanagement. They mismanaged, I should say. But again, one of the things that we did, we came out. He said that I was a liar. So guys, I will be coming out here pretty quick, showing if he wants to call me a liar, if they want to try to call me a liar, I'll start coming out with some evidence and showing. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to show how many people died last year. We don't have the year completed yet here. So we'll show last year just how many people died. I suspect there'll be more this year die than there was last year. Again, another thing that we're going to do, we're going to come out and we're going to show. Now, last week we had a warden that they fired, Margaret Green. So we had Margaret Green on, if you miss that, Margaret come in and explain just how bad, how all the employees are walking on pins and needles, that they're worried about getting fired. They're worried to say anything about any of what's actually happening. And so Margaret got fired simply because she wanted to hire the director's nephew. And so she was going to do that. The director called her up, according to Margaret. Margaret says the director called her up, cussed her out like she'd never been cussed. Now, you got to realize Margaret's been around the Department of Corrections all her life. She's worked in the Department of Corrections, I think, for 25 years. Guess what? She's heard a few cuss words. She's heard a bunch of cussing. So, again, she said she had never been cussed like this in her life. And again, he fired her simply for that. It's unbelievable. You're going to take somebody's 25-year career away from them, whose family is steeped in this, and you're going to fire somebody over that. But that's what kind of administration we've got. They're calling me a liar, but again, we're going to document all of the stuff. We're going to have Margaret write us a statement out, if she will, that says that she was present in a warden's meeting. Guys, this is unbelievable. That she was present in a warden's meeting where that she overheard, that she heard them bragging, all the administration bragging that this lady that got out, Pulsney, I think's her name, got out in 70 days after running over the girl, that she was drunk and ran over this girl, that they released her in 70 days. Back in February, they were laughing about this, bragging how they were going to do it, bragging about the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, but couldn't do it, couldn't get it done, that they were going to be able to outdo Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and that they were going to be able to release this lady, and they thought it was funny. They were laughing about it. So, guys, this is what kind of administration we got. So it's time that we call them out. It's time that we show what they're all about. They're firing people without cause. We've been defending all of these people that they're firing. We're winning the cases. Another big thing is they're going out and contracting. Even though they have their own attorney division, they're going out and contracting huge money with these big time, well-paid lawyers. Guys, that's a scam that's going on all across the state. All these state agencies are doing that. I think it needs to be investigated. Is these contracts being reached illegally? Are we actually? Why are we spending so much money on all of these attorneys, contracting attorneys, when we have these, lawyers hired for each division? General counsel is what they call them. We have lawyers for every agency. General counsel, we're spending millions of dollars to have them. And then as soon as we have any kind of little bitty case, we go out and contract with $500 and $700 lawyers. If we're going to do that, let's do away with division, use that money to contract with these lawyers. So again, that's going to be a big issue. Guys, one of the things that's going to come up, we're going to try to show where the director is throwing some of these investigations, where OIG is not investigating properly. We've got a warden that I'm going to be calling out here pretty quick, that his wife was having an affair, it looks like, allegedly having an affair. One of the inmates, she's still living on the grounds, it sounds like, shouldn't be. The investigation looks to be thrown. Looks like they didn't ask the proper questions that they should have. There's hardly no way that this lady should not have been charged with some charges. I think that if, with what I know of the case, that they probably didn't ask the right questions on purpose so that they could make sure they didn't charge her. They had enough grounds to fire her, of my understanding. She was fired, but now she's back on the grounds because her husband's been appointed a warden. We've got another case where a officer showed video to an inmate, it told the inmate. Now, what he showed was the video was an inmate stealing off of that inmate. And so he brought him in, showed him that security video, which is against the rules. I don't know if it's against the law, but it's certainly against policy. But he tells him that and then says, "Hey, don't put him in the hospital." Well, he didn't put him in the hospital. He put him in the morgue. And again, should he be charged? Is he culpable? I mean, it looks like he is. But what I'm hearing is the investigation is trying to be swept under the rug. So again, we need to look at that. We need to talk about that. They have another sexual allegation that an officer having sex with another officer on duty, and again that investigation is being swept under the rug as well. So, guys, we're going to be bringing some stuff that looks pretty bad. We're going to be bringing the murder record. So again, how many people were murdered? How many people OD'd? How many people died of natural causes? I'm going to say the number. I've already kind of pre-looked at it, but I haven't counted. So I don't want to give factual numbers yet, but guys, y'all need to stay tuned. I'm going to be coming out with that pretty quick, and I'm going to say, I will be shocked. Let me just say this. I will be shocked that if it's not more than an inmate dying every other day. So if it's not an inmate dying every other day, I will be shocked. And what that would be is about 15. I looked in 24, and that's about what it was an inmate dying every other day, roughly, if I remember correctly. I'll go back and look at this one. That roughly works out to about 180 a year when we're talking about every other day. I think it's going to be more than 180, but we'll have to count them. I'll have to check. I got the numbers in. It's a long, long list. I have to count them one at a time. They didn't add those up for me. So again, I got that from the medical examiner. Didn't get it from the Department of Corrections. I think the Department of Corrections is trying to cover up their murder rate. I'll be looking into, I've got a guy that's explaining to me ways that they cover that up, and they've started a deal, in security, out security. That's what that's all about. It's a big cover up on what they report and how they report deaths in the prison. I've got to get more educated on that, and we're going to be able to bring that to you. Guys, what's going on in the prison? Hopefully we're going to get a new governor. If we get the right governor, then maybe that right governor will come in and actually what I have pushed for. We have a company that I work with, have worked with quite a bit down in Texas. They're nationally known. They come in and audit every aspect of that prison. So they would come in and they would look at, basically the facilities. Guys, they haven't put any money into facilities. They're a disaster. They've got sewer. We've got video of them walking in sewer there in Dick Connors. Every time you turn around, Dick Connors has got to shut the water down. Other prisons got to shut the water down. The air conditioning units, everything. They have not put money back into the prisons, and it's starting to show. It's really beginning to show, crumble down around them. I heard I think it's just done, one of the roofs fell in not too long back. This is the kind of stuff. They've got maintenance. They don't have enough maintenance people. They don't have the right maintenance people. So they're fortunately, what I'm told, and I'm told that by some of the maintenance workers, that they're fortunately having to sign on saying they supervise fixing stuff that they didn't. Guys, that is a major problem because it's fraud. And the department knows that. What they're trying to do is make those employees sign that. The employees know if they don't, they end up losing their job. The employees are signing it, but if they end up getting caught, guess what? The administration's going, oh, no, we never told them to sign that. Oh, no, we didn't know that was going on. They're going to leave them in the dirt. They're going to throw them to the wolves. That's the way they do. And so, again, we need to work that, understanding that these employees were in a bind, having to do what they do, but we need to start holding these administration accountable. It's time that we hold the administration accountable. Guys, it's time we go in and look at the contracts. It's time to look at the real number. Guys, they're calling me a liar. You want to talk about, if you want me to show you lying, 4 or 5 years ago, I tried to get the number of correctional officers Just call them up and say, hey, how many correctional officers you got in? They basically said 300 short. By the time it took me 6 months to get a real number, but by the time we got real numbers, it was 940 short. Now, guys, that's a big fat lie. That's a big lie. And why should it take that long to get this stuff done? Guys, they will not let me have any kind of records. So that's just showing you that, again, they are absolutely hiding. Why would they keep an elected official from looking at records? Why would they make a deal with our leadership there in the House to not allow me to have records, to not allow me to look into those records? Now, I've got the emails showing that to be true, so they can't say they didn't say that. If they do, they are liars. If they say they don't have massive people dying, they are liars. If they say that, that they don't have these rapes that they're covering up, hey, I'm just telling you a couple of the stuff that they're covering up. But we have the lady that turned in all of those rape cover-ups, and guess what? They fired her, whistleblower. They fired her. She's won 4 times in the last courts. They appealed it all the way to the Supreme Court. Now, again, what are they appealing on? The appeal is not whether it happened or not. The appeal is whether the court acted appropriately. Did the court do anything wrong? Guess what? They've appealed that 4 times. How many times they need to appeal it, So again, she's won. She's showing that everything she said true. And guess what? They are liars. There is, again, verified liars, because they fired her. They fired a whistleblower. And now we've won 4 times. Guys, I can't tell you how many cases we're winning in the court for them wrongfully firing people. This is who you got. This is what the Department of Corrections is right now. A stinking, full-blown disaster. That's what you got. And again, it's time to hold them accountable. I want to just switch gears a little bit. I wanted to bring you a story that I've been reported on about a month ago. So we had a girl named Maji who had a brain tumor. So she had a brain tumor, and they took her to OU. She's 5 years old, and they removed that brain tumor, which is great. OU did a great job there. And so anyways, remove that brain tumor. But here's where we start having problems. OU wants to do chemotherapy. The parents want to see, they want to run a couple of tests and see what kind of scores that Maji would have on whether she currently had any existence of cancer, what was the levels of cancer that remained in her body. OU wanted to immediately do chemo, and so they got a hold of DHS saying that the parents were neglecting Maji because they wouldn't allow them to give chemotherapy. The dad and the mother both said that we're not going to allow that. We just want to get the test. We want to send the test to the best children's hospital in the United States to see do they agree with doing chemotherapy. Now, guys, there wasn't an immediate rush to get this done. DHS steps in and tries to take the child away from these parents. Now, I want you to just get a full picture of this. Your parent and your kids got a brain tumor. How much stress is that? I mean, can you think of, there's not much worse you can think of, okay? That's a pretty stressful thing. That's pretty bad. And here these parents are going through that. Now, anybody that's dealt with going to the doctor knows that it comes with a massive burden on your finances. It comes with massive burden. And so again, here they are. Their child has got a brain tumor. They're having to go and have that child's brain, opened up, tumor removed. Guys, you know what? I mean, you're sitting there not knowing, is your kid going to come out of this? What's my kid going to be like? Is she going to still be able to talk, walk, do all that? Guess what? Don't know. Very, very stressful situation. Add the finances in that. Add what the time restraints. So the dad here, Paul, is going to school. So he's going to truck driving school, I think. So again, trying to keep up with the doctors and appointments, to look all this stuff up, to just do what's required to take care of your kid is super time consuming. Now, think about all this, the emotions of it, the stress of it, the financial burden of it, all the things taken away from your work. Now, add on top of that, DHS stepping in. You talk about some sorry sons of bitches. Step in and try to take your kid away because the medical unit up there wants to make money. Let's not, I mean, hey, it's easy to see what's going on here. They want to make money. They're wanting to charge to do this. What professional would not say, hey, let's get a second opinion. Let's get a second opinion from the best in the nation. Let's do some testing. Let's see where we're at before we start chemotherapy. That's anybody would agree with that. I mean, good old-fashioned common sense. But that's not what's happening. Nope, they want money, so they're going to demand that she does the chemotherapy. They don't care about testing. Why wouldn't they do the testing before? How would you know what to do? I mean, how much to use, whatever. You'd have to do the testing. So ended up, I called an attorney, and they ended up hiring that attorney. And so kudos to the attorney, Eve Spalding. She's come on, Elephant in the Room with us. We actually had her on some stuff the other day on DOC, representing all the people on DOC, and how that we're trying to get money back for those employees and what we can, how much money we're going to get back. But I got a hold to Eve. She took this case. Eve was just pumped that they were able to work in this case and help this family out. So we end up getting a good judge. We end up having a great attorney. Now here's the part on this, guys, that you got to understand. How many people out there can afford an attorney? How many people going through this could afford an attorney? Guess what? If they had not had that attorney, things probably would have turned south. If they hadn't had a good judge, they'd run out of money on attorney, because that's what happens. I looked the other day, I listened to a deal the other day. They were giving statistics on how many people start off with attorney and end up pro se. And again, the courts just really will not work with you pro se. They make it almost impossible for you to represent yourself. This court system has turned into quite a scam itself. And so anyways, they went into court the other day. Eve was just pumped that they were able to win. We got a good judge. We were able to get their kid, keep the kid from Maji from going to DHS custody. So the Maji gets to stay with their parents. Can you imagine being a kid and going through all this and then having to worry about whether, DHS, whether the state's going to take you away from great parents like you had? I mean, how many parents would be doing the things they're doing to keep the child? No, never a conversation of whether this kid is not well cared for, well kept, clean, the whole 9 yards. None of that's in question. The question is, are they providing medical treatment? And again, they're asking for the best medical treatment in the United States. This is what DHS does. You think they can't walk in and take anybody's kid, you're wrong. They can walk in and take your kid, your grandkid. People like this right here. Guys, we got to go after them. This is medical kidnapping. That's what it is, plain and simple. That OU wants to pay off their notes, their bills, and they're going to order, hey, you're going to do what we say. If you don't, we'll turn you into DHS. DHS is going to come out there and say, if you don't do what we say, we're going to take your kid. Kudos to the judge for standing up to DHS. Kudos to Eve Spalding. She did a heck of a great job. Kudos to Paul and Victoria for standing their ground. And kudos for Maja because, listen, guys, this is the best part of this story. We typically don't have good news. And so we had a big win through the court system. But the biggest win is that Maja just had her test come back. Both tests said that she was cancer-free. She had no cancer. So again, not only do we have great news for Maja that she's cancer-free, but also that tells us that the parents were right, waiting to get those tests. Now we know she's cancer free. Yes, they're going to go ahead and do some treatment. They may change diet. They may keep a tab, a very, very close tab on, is this going to come back, not come back, be able to get on it. They may have to do, some chemotherapy, lighter chemotherapy, or some treatment. But again, that treatment is going to be based on the knowledge that she's cancer free and that she had these tests. Guys, that's what should have been done. That's the way it should have happened. And DHS and OU, this needs to be investigated. DHS should be stripped down and investigated from top to bottom. People should be arrested for the conduct that they're doing. This is kidnapping, due process, violating people's civil rights. I mean, constantly, all the time they're doing this. Guys, case after case. Woolley case, guess what? 7 years they've taken that child with no due process. They were never found guilty. There was no grounds on them to take their kid. 7 years, and they still won't give that kid back. Somebody ought to go to jail. And again, I think we need to be looking at the DA involved in that, Jack Thorpe. I think we need to be looking at the head of DHS and all the other people who have either stopped the investigations on that. I ordered an investigation on that. They stopped them. They dead in their tracks. They refused to help this family and 7 other families. I think there were 7 that we turned in that were as egregious as that. So again, guys, I've got 5 or 6 of these cases we're working on. It is unbelievable what is going on in that medical kidnapping. Guys, I've got a case right there in Oklahoma City. Elderly lady that DHS stepped in, said, well, her house wasn't clean enough. So her son cleaned the house. Well, it didn't have good roof. Got the roof patch. You're not taking care of her. Won't let him see her. Again, and put her in a nursing home. If you're an elderly person, you're able to care for yourself, you can be at home. Wouldn't you much, much prefer to be at home? And again, if she needs to be in a nursing home, that's her family's choice. Who are DHS? Unless her life is in immediate danger, unless they are extremely abusing her, then guess what? And again, if she was kind of a hoarder all her life and her house a little bit cluttered, you know what? There ain't no law says you can't have a cluttered house. You want DHS coming in, taking your mother away from you, your father away from you, because the house ain't clean enough to meet their standards. Whose standards are they going by? Guys, this is kind of stuff, we got to wake up. We got to go after them. We're trying to do a grand jury there in Payne County, and guess what? That's what this is all about. In fact, I want to switch gears and bring you up to date on that. That was one of the things I wanted to report to you, is that we started a grand jury there in Payne County. The government officials and the judicial stepped in to kill that grand jury. They had one of the main organizers falsely arrested. We can prove they falsely arrested him, put a punitive $1 million bond on him, and extorted him, give us back your kid and we'll drop your bond down to a level where you can get out. Extortion. It's under the color of law. They used the color of law to arrest him falsely, to extort him. And guys, we came in, we got the grand jury, we got the numbers. They said that they had certified the numbers. We were able to prove 100% that was a fraudulent. The letter was fraud. It's fraud by the election board. Our courts did absolutely nothing. Kicked our grand jury out because they said that we didn't get the numbers. Again, we can show they kicked it out by fraud, and that people ought to people ought to be charged. I'm not going to say go to jail. Maybe they ought to get probation, but an investigation is warranted, and people ought to be charged. Okay, and we send that up to the. Sorry, I dropped my phone there. So we send that up to the Supreme Court Justice. So we send it to Supreme Court Justice, and guess what? He's named in this, and he continues to supervise that case, to oversee that case. And, it's just wrong. I mean, how wrong can you get? But here's the deal, guys. Y'all need to listen up on this. This is very, very important. Everybody knows the First Amendment. Guys, these amendments are your rights. We've taken them too lightly. These things were, people died to get you these rights. That's what the Revolutionary War was all about, these rights. Not letting a king come in and rule you and take your rights away from you. I mean, these people gave their land, their life, their family's life to give us these rights. And it's time that we fight and take them, because we've allowed the government to steal our rights. We've allowed these court systems to steal our rights away. Number one amendment. And I like to think the founding fathers put the good stuff in number one. Now, right of religion, right of free speech, freedom of press. We know all of those, okay? But what we've forgotten is the right to a grand jury, the right to assemble, the right to associate, the right to redress grievances. Now, guys, why are those important? Because the First Amendment guarantees the people are the government, not these politicians, not these judges. The people are over the branches of government, okay? Now, when we file a grand jury petition, if you look at that, that is to hold the government and to hold the judicial responsible, accountable. So, guys, that is the people's right to make sure our government, this is how we hold them accountable. When we associate together and we form an association and we get this petition that is us addressing our grievances, okay? That's how we address them. So we come in and we say, hey, we've got these issues. Now, what a court can do, what a judge can do, is look and say, is that sufficient? Now, sufficiency is pretty wide open, okay? Now, if you just said something about me, if you said something bad about me, people say it all the time. But if I wanted a grand jury just because you said something bad about me, that's not sufficient. We can't have a grand jury just because one person's mad at another person. That's insufficient. But if we come in and say the court used their position to falsely arrest, the court used their position, this judge used his position to falsely arrest, this judge abused his position, this judge set a punitive, massive high bond for the purpose of this guy can't get out. Retaliatory, because he used that ability, he used his position to retaliate and to get at this person. Okay, all of that is sufficient. Now, the courts have come in and said it's not sufficient. Well, guess what? Yeah, who are they to stop a grand jury? So we came in, and again, on the second time we file, they do not serve, they break the law, they break their codes, their laws. They don't serve, they don't record, they basically send to the Supreme Court Justice again. So they're sitting there going back to the Supreme Court Justice. He's ruling on his own case again. He's turned around and giving his case to a judge. He's handpicking that judge. Guys, that's corrupt as all get up. It's corrupt. Now, in both those first cases, they let the politicians in. They let judicial complaints. Guys, judicial complaints are supposed to oversee this. They're supposed to be the people that I can write to and say, hey, all of this is a violation of the Constitution. All of this is grotesquely wrong what these judges and politicians are doing. They're supposed to be over the judges. Guess what? Not only are they not doing their job, but they're filing in trying to kill this grand jury. It's illegal to kill a grand jury. Illegal. obstruction of justice. So here's what they're doing. These politicians and the judges are coming in. They're filing motions to quash. That means kill the grand jury. Motion to quash. That means obstruction. That means kill the grand jury. They're filing motions to sanction me. Again, that's witness intimidation. That's preventing a grand jury, preventing witnesses. And we have them on their own record saying we're doing this to prevent him, to stop him from acting the way he does. Acting the way I'm doing is doing a grand jury. And they're saying it's to stop others from acting. So they're admitting, they wrote it in their own brief. They wrote it and said, our goal is to stop him and stop them. We're going to prevent them from testifying. Now, guys, that's as illegal as hell. I mean, it's a violation of our Constitution. It's a violation of our civil rights. And again, it's illegal. It's a criminal act. And it's time somebody do something. Now, we filed the third grand jury, and they thought I was going to be on it, and so they're emailing me, and I never respond. They forget I'm on the email. Guys, we got emails showing that they're having communications behind everybody's back called ex parte. They have to be in communication with the judge. They're saying, hey, this judge recused, this judge got it, now he's going to appoint this judge. Same judge that we argued shouldn't have ever been, appointed by him in the first place. He was showing favoritism. Well, guess what? He's going to appoint her again. That same Chief Justice going to appoint that same judge. Only now they forgot I was on the whole email. Now we catch them. Now they holler, let's recall that email. Too late. We got a snapshot of it. We got a snapshot of them trying to recall it. She had to recuse. The new judge comes in. This is key, guys. The new judge comes in and he says, there is no mechanism to file into a grand jury. Now, what that means is all of these previous times, constantly, that they're filing motions to quash our appeal, motions to sanction, all of this wearing us out, going to court, constantly, has all been illegal. There is not a mechanism for them to do that. It should have never been allowed. These judges that allowed it were wrong. And again, it's time they are held accountable. They knew they were wrong. You know how I know they knew they were wrong? Because I went into court and told them they were wrong. I went into court and told them just that. Daryl Doherty went into court and told them just that. We told them there was no mechanism. We told them that until that is filed into as a case, the petition is just that, a petition. It's not a criminal offense. It's not a criminal action. It is a petition that allows us to go out and collect signatures. There is no place for the defendants of said petition, the potential. They're not even defendants. What if we don't get signatures? What if we can't get it? Okay, then they've, there's nothing there until we get that. Until it's filed, until a prosecutor's assigned, they can't file in, they can't start fighting against it because all it is petition. Guys, we got approved on the grand jury petition. Now, I have a big disagreement. That judge says there's no mechanism to stop this filing, but then he said, well, I'm going to limit it. Well, guess what, Judge? You just violated your own ruling. You don't have the authority to limit it. We, the people, can do whatever we want. You say whether it's sufficient. If it isn't sufficient, you tell us how we can make it sufficient. Give us the proper wording. Give us what we need to put. We'll make it sufficient. Then we'll go out. He didn't do that. He said it's limited. Guys, the court can't limit it. This is them. That's them acting in behalf of themselves. They cannot limit an investigation on their own self. They can't do it. Cannot limit an investigation on the government. The petition, it's the First Amendment. It's our civil right. It is a right guaranteed to the people. We have the right to do a grand jury petition and to redress grievances and to hold these accountable. That's what it's all for. That's exactly what it's for. And yet these court officials, well, no, we're not going to let you look at the government. We're not going to let you look at us. We'll let you look at this one over here. Can you imagine? I mean, that's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. It is unbelievable that they can be so blatant, so careless, and do all of this stuff. Guys, it is time that we step up. Guys, if we don't start standing up to these people, if we don't start standing on our rights, we lose them. Now, I want to end this. I want to end it. I want to tell y'all, I have it, I filed for lieutenant governor in right around August 1st. I have mentioned it a time or two here on Elephant in the Room, but most of the time that we're on Elephant in the Room, we're talking about issues that I don't bring that into a whole lot of the conversation. But guys, I'm going to bring it in today, and I'm going to wrap up with this. We have children being kidnapped by DHS for medical purposes to pay our hospitals. It's a scam, I believe, to pay those hospitals. We have people being taken, kids being taken out of homes without due process, without probable cause. We have kids that DHS are allowing to remain in homes where they know sexual abuse or other types of abuse have occurred. We have DHS targeting parents because they want to protect their children, ruining their lives. DHS ruining lives. We have DHS that we know knew that kids were being molested in their detention centers and refused to do anything about it. And guys, we have multiple reports of other detention centers that haven't been investigated yet. When we've asked to investigate those, our own House leadership, our Senate did absolutely nothing. House leadership did absolutely nothing. Guys, worse than nothing, they stopped the investigations. They shut down, they obstructed an investigation into these cases that I'm talking about. Kids being waterboarded at a mental health institution, they shut it down. Guys, I've turned in human rights violations. I don't care how you feel about prisons. Guys, nobody should be locked in a 2x2 cell, forced to stand there for 9 days, limited food and water, and no bathroom break. I don't care what crime you committed. That makes us the criminals, not them. Guys, stabbings every day. People dying at the rate of one every other day in our prisons. That's third world country stuff. That's banana republic stuff. We have, I will promise you, I've turned in contract after contract. I mean corruption. You would not believe the corruption that's going on. These leadership are involved in it. They're not just, they're involved in it. And it's time that we elect somebody that would go up there, protect your civil rights, protect your constitutional rights, protect your money, go after waste, fraud, and abuse, turn these agencies back around. Guys, Republicans say less government, more local. Guys, they have grown government like you would not believe, and they have robbed you of your local services. That's what's happened in the last 13 years. I'm a Republican, but guys, let's just tell it what it is. They've grown government, and they have reduced local services. That's a fact. I don't have to argue it. I can prove it. I can show you 1,000% I am right. We are a red state with blue regulations. It's time that we take Oklahoma back. Now, I want to just tell you this. Everybody else in the race, they would not do what we're talking about. None of those people in this race would go in and walk up there to the Senate and take back that Senate. Call out what's being done. Call it out. Call it broad daylight out. Call them out on all of their corruption. Call them out on all of their schemes. Report what bills they're trying to kill, what bills they're trying to sneak in, what bills that they're working to pass, how they're working with state chamber how they're working with all these PACs, dark money, and all of these things. Guys, it's time. Now, you got to make a choice because this election's not about me. This election's not about the other people that I'm in a race with. This election is about you. And you're going to have to make a choice of who you want to represent. Do you want somebody that's going to kick the can down the road, who's going to do absolutely nothing to these agencies, have no plan on these agencies, how to fix them, no plan how to turn them around, will not call out the corruption, will not do anything. They'll go up there and they'll sit in a cushy little seat and do absolutely nothing and groom themselves to become governor. That's what this seat's about, has been about. But in reality, they're the head of the Senate. If we had somebody that go in, take that position back, guess what? It could be an awesome, awesome asset for the state of Oklahoma. We can turn Oklahoma around, and I'll guarantee you we can take Oklahoma back. Guys, I'm the only one in the race that would do that. I'm the only one up there that I think that would do that. And again, I think my track record proves that I would do it. I think if you look at past performance, present performance, it's indicative of what I will do. Guys, I'm not talking. I'm telling you, I'm a man of action. I'm a person of action. You can look at it 1,000%. These agencies hate me because I'm calling them out. They need to hate me. And if I can win lieutenant governor, they'll hate me more because I will guarantee you we're going to hold them accountable. Guys, I think we get the votes. We just got through with the grand jury. Today is the last day. Man, if you haven't signed that and you're in Payne County, run down there and find a place to sign up. We're just about done. Guys, we'll find out if we got the numbers. If we got the numbers, things are going to rock and roll. We're fixing to get down to business, not just for Payne County, for the entire state of Oklahoma. We're going to see. We've been working hard. This has been almost a year battle. We've been working hard on this. We're not through. If we don't get signatures, I'm not through fighting. Guys, we got to fight for our rights. We got to keep fighting for our rights. Not just our rights, but the rights of our children and grandchildren. It's time to stand up. It's time to take Oklahoma back. I'm going to ask you for your vote. J.J. Humphrey, June 16th for Lieutenant Governor. Y'all have a good day.